to some more basketball because we got to talk about Motown. I mean, well, it's Tubi Town now.
Yep.
Carl, I wish you were here to talk about this one, man, because you would love this title. So we got to talk about
Mm.
Tubi JB. And if you talking about JB, you like, who is that? James Brown? No, JB Bickerstaff, former coach
Mhm.
of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He agreed to a 5-year deal to become the next head coach for the Detroit Pistons. And someone asks, is it the right decision to bring JB Bickerstaff to the Pistons? I mean, what else could they have done? They fired Monty after the 5 year, after giving him the bag for the, I think it was 5 seasons or 6 seasons. I don't know about the years. I just know he got that bag. And when
Oh
coaches
yeah,
get fired,
I know he got 65 million coming his
there we
way.
go. And when coaches get fired, that money still go with them. It ain't like they got to pay it back. So for me, if you ask me, I like what JB Bickerstaff did when he was with Cleveland. As a Wizards fan, when we had West, I called JB the Target version of Wes Unseld, and we had the Walmart version of JB Bickerstaff because they both look alike. But it seemed like the Cleveland Cavaliers had the better coach at the time because he can bring a team together. Granted, they did have Donovan Mitchell come over there right around the time I think it was his first or second year as a coach. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he had the Cavs make it almost to the Eastern Conference Finals. They made it to the semifinals. And then last year, look what they did in a playoff series where I was like, I don't think Cleveland could beat the Magic. And look what they did. They found a way to beat the young Magic team. He's a good coach. I like what the Pistons have as a core. I don't like all the wings. Now, when they find a way to wing stop, they'll figure it out. But they have the right coach for what they need because he's going to understand what type of player Cade is and how he needs to get the ball to win more than 13, 14 games. So I like it.
For me, this comment pretty much sums it up to me. This is exactly how I felt about it. This is from Mr. RBO himself. I like JB, but I like Monty. I don't know what Detroit did to him. I felt the same way. I feel like they moved on way too quickly. They
Mm.
didn't give him an opportunity to make up for or to improve the rosters to see what he can do with a better roster this year. Because look at what Monty has done in other situations. Look at what he did with Phoenix. He got to the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns, and you fire him after one season. For
Mm.
me, that was just a little ridiculous. And JB Bickerstaff, although I do think he deserves an opportunity, and I'm not mad that they gave the opportunity to JB because I think he deserves an opportunity to redeem himself and to see exactly what he could do. Because we heard the rumblings in Cleveland that they didn't like his philosophy and stuff like that. Players weren't getting along with him very well. So I mean, if players weren't getting along with JB, players were getting along with Monty. So do you want someone who's a player coach or do you not want someone who's a player coach? So
Mm.
I'm not sure what you're getting with JB Bickerstaff. I do know that he did make the playoffs last 2 years with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He got to the semifinals this year. When he didn't last year. Last year they lost in the series to the Knicks. This year they're doing a lot better now. So you got that going for them. But other than that, I'm not honestly not sure. I'm not sure what the thought process is with Detroit. I'm not sure what decisions they're really trying to make because they didn't really improve the roster. Um
They
the
got Tobias
draft
Harris. All right, go ahead.
Tobias Tobias Harris is not the answer. I don't think he hasn't been the answer anywhere he's been. When he was with the Clippers, they were fine, but they weren't going to make any difference. When he went to Philly, he should have been gone instead of Jimmy Butler. They should have kept Jimmy and should have traded Tobias Harris. If you look at the situations, if you look at how they both are when they're by themselves, Jimmy Butler's the better player. He's the better defender. He's the better scorer. He does what you need him to do. Tobias Harris, we've seen him not show up multiple times. So I, it's cool because now they have another scorer alongside Cade, but what did the draft didn't help you out really? And it's not much else that they're doing. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. This is where Tim Hardaway Jr. is now. He's in Detroit. So are they going to improve now? Are they going to get better? Are they going to win more than 17 games? And if they only win 20 games, are they going to fire JB Bickerstaff?
That's a good question.
So what's the expectation in Detroit? Is it to tank to get better, or is it to compete? Because right now you don't have a roster to compete. So all I'm saying is give him an opportunity that you didn't give Monty. You didn't give Monty a chance to do it for 2 seasons at least. Don't fire him after 1 season. I don't care if he only wins 10 games. Give him an opportunity, because it seems like y'all are rushing something when you have no structure. So I'm not sure what it is.
Tobias a cool. He don't need no more wings. He don't need no more wings. He need a vet point guard or something like that. But I see where you coming from with that, because again, with a franchise who really doesn't have a vision, why are you going out and firing a solidified head coach such as Monty? Like, again, I had to go back to, and I'm glad you brought this up because it made me remember when he was with the Hornets/Pelicans. Like, that team competed. Of course, when he was the Suns, we all know what he did with the Suns. Like, the fact that you could even get Devin Booker to be friends with Chris Paul. Like, again, everybody know how Chris Paul is in the locker room. Not saying he may be a pest, but again, I think when Detroit brought Monty in, they thought Monty was going to bring some cachet to the city and probably bring in some free agents, or maybe help the front office that can possibly make some trades. And it didn't go the way they expected. So they said, you know what? We're just going to scratch our tie. We're going to scratch this one off. We can bring JB in, who can help actually bring up some of this youth movement that we have. And while we're still trying to figure out, in the midst of the tank/rebuild of what we got going on in Detroit, we're just going to use JB. And then when we feel like the team is almost on its way, or kind of like where Orlando Magic is now, where they're becoming a formidable opponent in the East, then we'll go get our real head coach. Or maybe JB's just going to be there for the foreseeable future. I don't know, but I think they just was like, look, Monty, we're not going to waste your time no more, because we're not even about to play around with this team. So we're going to let you go.
Yeah, for me, it's just if you're not going to try to improve the roster or try to help your coach out, don't fire him, because it's not his fault at the end of the day. You're not giving him much to work with.
Oh, I think they did him solid.
Not everybody. No, I'm talking about JB.
Oh, I got you.
Now that JB's in the situation, not everybody can be Eric Spoelstra and win 40-something games with no stars. Not everybody can do stuff like that, like Pop. Not everybody can do stuff like that, like Phil Jackson. And even Phil Jackson didn't win without stars. So you gotta give your coach an opportunity to compete by filling out the roster. The roster that's currently constructed is not going anywhere.
Yeah, and they got to do something quick, because I know they going either they going to extend Cade, or Cade has already got the extension. But at some point, his kid's going to ask for a trade. If he sees a child going nowhere fast, he's going to ask for a trade, because it's just wasting talent. After next year, if you don't have no clear-cut vision, I can see Cade saying, all right, get me out of here. Like, I need to go. But again, it's Detroit. So we gonna it's the same old song. So I got you right there, man. Don't clip me up. So yeah, I agree with you. I think we have a clear-cut agreement on that part, where it's like, look, if you don't have a vision, don't fire this guy because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Just give these coaches an opportunity to do something. Give them an opportunity to build something. They can't build something in 1 season. No. Like, come on, man. Look at what Ime Udoka is doing in Houston. It's 1 season. They didn't fire him after 1 season, and they didn't make the playoffs. You got to give them an opportunity and give them a roster. The roster improved. Houston improved the roster. They went and got Dylan Brooks. They went and got Fred VanVleet. They are improving the roster so they can get better. So, and then Cade just signed a max deal. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the rest of the team?
Also, though, when you talk about Houston, like, it doesn't take a lot to bring a player down to Houston.
I mean,
you gotta do a lot of recruiting to get somebody to go to Detroit, man. I mean, like, the city's nice, but I'm just saying, like, Houston or Detroit.
Do what other teams do. Bring Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, and Billups. Well, Billups in Portland, so I guess he not gonna do it. But Rip Hamilton, bring all those guys that won a championship for you. Bring all of them guys. Isaiah Thomas, bring all of them. Tell them come down and help you get stars.
I ain't coming to Detroit because of Rip Hamilton. Like, you're gonna have to bring a little bit more than Rip Hamilton and Rashid, and Ben Wallace. Like, I can listen to them on their podcast, but I need a little bit more. You gotta give me something else. You gotta sell me on something because I gotta live here when they leave.
Tell Jared Goff and them come to help him out. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look, they went to the NFC Championship game. They said, "Hey, look,
But you gotta pick up what I'm putting down, Dave. You gotta give me a little bit more.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Because, like I said, in Houston, you can go outside. I'm just saying, I can't go outside in Detroit.
Look, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to have them think about the sports stuff. That's
they got that in their mind already. They play Madden. They play Call of Duty. Like, you gotta think, if I'm a free agent and I got you got two places. Let's do three. Let's even this out. You got DC, Detroit, or Houston. I'm just saying, Houston's gonna be number one for a lot of people.
Houston's number one.
But the
Houston
second
is
spot,
number one.
More people might say they're going with the Wizards before they. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I like Cartier's, but I need a little bit more. Like, I gotta see what's going on because I'm gonna have a whole rack of Cartier's. We go to Detroit because I ain't trying to look at nothing. But anyway, look, they got Tubi, so shout out to Tubi. Speaking of bad decisions, I mean, not bad decisions. Detroit's not a bad decision. What?